So how's everybody doing? This is Hank back with another Two Birds and a Third short discussion. This one having to do with Champs versus Pros, the fourth episode, and it's going to be a recap. But before I do the recap, I just wanted to offer my condolences to the friends, the family of Danny Diaz, who was a part of the MTV family, was a part of the Challenged family, was on the second to last season of Road Rules Extreme, the one with Derek, Jody, Keena, Ibis, Jillian. And he happened to be on one challenge, the Gauntlet 2. And from the news that I saw, he was found in his residence with a vertical slash down his arm, which was what I'm guessing is a suicide attempt that was successful. Any death is tragic. Any death is sad. There have been 3 previous deaths in the Challenge family, and again, any death is sad and tragic. And just wanted to offer a moment of silence for his to celebrate his passing. All right, so let's get with the episode recap. The episode begins where the last episode ended, where Lolo Jones and Tia Blanco were about to do their elimination, which was Basket Brawl, and of course, this was a lopsided matchup. Lindsay Jacob Ellis, who was the previous team captain, wanted to be like, okay, let's get this started. I want to take Tia's place. And Victor Cruz gives Lolo Jones the chance, to go up against her. And in my mind, just a complete pussying out. Especially because Lolo Jones' character is, kind of like the, I'm going to compete hard kind of character. But she doesn't seem to be backing that up. She went up against a tough opponent in her first elimination, and then this elimination, she's going up against a smaller person who she definitely is going to beat. And, while Lindsay Jacob Ellis is, pleading with, I want to take Tia's place, Wes is in the corner like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Because you're going to screw yourself over and you're going to lose. Which, from a competitive standpoint, Lolo Jones definitely pussied out by going up against Tia Blanco. But when it comes to a competitor's perspective, she pussied out. So you're either going for an intelligence perspective, I want to stay in this game as long as possible, so I'm going to go up against the weakest player, or you can go to the standpoint of, well, I'm a competitor, I'm going to go up against a strong player. But again, like in the voting ceremony, Lolo Jones decides to go up against Tia Blanco despite what the rest of her team thought, and she basically beats her in Basket Brawl. Tia Blanco doesn't score a single point in the last point to score. Tia Blanco just lets Lolo Jones score. So Tia Blanco goes home with $1,000 to her charity. And we go on to the episode, and it's Lolo Jones meeting up with Wes and kind of talking it out with Wes. And Wes makes a good point where he says, this spin-off challenge, because Wes is so used to being the guy who's always voted in, the odd man out, because he's always keen on the strategy. But now you see that Lolo Jones is basically becoming what Wes was previously. And, Wes is kind of laughing, the professionals are making our jobs easy and struggling doing our jobs on the challenge. And he kind of sits down and talks to her, and she's just like, whatever. She listens to him, but I don't think she's going to take any of his advice. Basically, the advice is, kind of keep your friends close and your enemies closer, and don't trust people, but this is a team that you have to work with. So he gives her some sound advice. I believe that's what he says in the episode. But anyway, to the mission. The mission is called Keep Your Eyes on the Prize, which was one of the missions from Battle of the X's 2, where, you had the male player, you know, pull open kind of like a trap thing with a puzzle underneath it, like a block puzzle, and the female player had to like memorize what was on the puzzle, and you had to like go up a hill and then solve the puzzle. But if you got a part of the puzzle wrong, then you had to come back down and do it again. So, it takes a while for both of the teams, or at least the professionals team, to kind of get started, but they end up coming neck and neck with the champs team at the very middle of the race. And because the champs are doing so well, Lolo Jones decides to get in their face and mess with the colors, because it's like a specific color pattern where it's like full blocks of color and then half blocks of color on the same block. So I guess like one player holds open the thing, and then I think that was CT and Cameron Wembley who hold open the thing, and then it was Wes, and I think who's the one of the skiers' names was Gus. Okay, Gus. I keep getting Gus and Louis mixed up, but Gus and Wes were both the guys who were kind of, telling the other people what the puzzle were, and then they would go up the hill, and then they tag two more people to go up the hill, and then they tag two more people to go up to the hill, where the final person up the hill, which was Ashley M. and Louis, who were supposed to solve the puzzle. So it's kind of like telephone. And at one point, Jordan tries to do what Lolo Jones did when it came to, telling, the other players what the colors and the patterns were. And Lindsay Jacobellis kind of shoves him right in the face, I was really confused about that, because there's no hitting in the challenge. There's absolutely no physical violence that's supposed to be in the challenge. I have no idea why she didn't get kicked off there. It could have possibly been because Jordan. They probably asked Jordan afterwards, and he was like, "Yeah, it's okay." Which, the whole hitting policy in the challenge, it's kind of like messed up, because it doesn't, because you can have people who like do enact physical violence, but they never get voted off, and you have people who don't enact physical violence and they still get voted off for being too violent. Anyway, the champs end up winning the challenge. The team captains on the challenge were, of course, Wes. Oh no, was of course, excuse me, not Wes. Was of course Darrell and Gus. And because the champs won, Darrell got $5,000 to his charity, and Gus went straight to the elimination. So what happens is, I think, do they do the voting ceremony? Yeah, they do the voting ceremony first. And in the voting ceremony, Darrell, of course, Darrell picks Wes, because Wes wanted to go in, and then the rest of the team picks Jordan, and then Jordan goes into the elimination with Wes, and Gus goes into the elimination, and basically, I guess the team picks CM Punk to go on with them. So after that, I think some of them go to the batting cages, and CT teaches Luis Hazel how to hit a baseball. And you can tell that young CT would have probably hooked up with Luis Hazel, but, I mean, it's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird situation. Not to mention, Lolo Jones admits to Jordan that she's a virgin. I think that happens in this episode. She admits to Jordan that she's a virgin, and that she's, waiting until marriage. It's, a moot point in that specific aspect, but it was made major. I don't know why anyone would come out and admit it, but she seems to like Jordan in a way. Regardless, the elimination takes place, and the elimination happens to be Ice Bath, which I think that was an elimination from Rivals 3. I'm not exactly sure, but it's basically a slider, like a sliders thing from Gauntlet 3, and an ice bath, where you have to soak your hands in an ice bath, and then you have to go and solve a puzzle in a certain amount of time, and if you don't make that amount of time, you have to go back to the ice box, or the barrel. But, basically, Gus beats CM Punk, and Wes beats Jordan. It's kind of like a screwed up kind of elimination because you have people around and they can actually like help the player that they want to help, which is what sometimes you see in that rope thing, that rope jungle gym thing. I forget what that's called. And in sliders, you basically have the person solving the puzzle and then people telling the person what to do. In my opinion, in the future, they probably should stop people from being able to help. Like, have the person wear, like, headphones. But that's the end of the episode. I hope everyone enjoyed the review of the episode. We're having our podcast tonight, hopefully at around 7 or 7:30 Pacific. Everyone have a nice day, and I will be back within the week with more content. Peace.